Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of TGIF-vibes with Lady, brought to you by MentiasieTV. So today I have with me a rising entrepreneur, and he's here to give us some tips about entrepreneurship. As we promised you, today is going to be informative and educative, and so stay tuned as I allow him to introduce himself. So let me pass the mic to our entrepreneur for the day.
Hi, I'm Benny Saki, CEO of Benny Photography and Videography, and today I've been invited into TGIF to discuss just a little stuff about entrepreneurship. I'm a photographer because we are a team made up of different roles and different titles. So I'm a photographer under Benny Photography and the CEO of Benny Photography.
That's awesome. So as you heard him, he is the CEO of Benny Photography, but Benny Photography in general is made up of some team members that work together to produce this awesome visuals to be seen on Facebook, etc. Okay, so for today, I want to run through the questions Benny will be enlightening us on. We're going to talk about who an entrepreneur is. We are going to talk about the path to choose as an entrepreneur. We're also going to talk about how to sustain the path. So after you've chosen the path, we have to talk about how to sustain it. And then we're going to talk about the necessary ingredients in expanding your business. So what is needed to promote your business, to expand it. And then your customer relationship. As an entrepreneur, as a businessman, you have to know how to relate to your customers. So how do you do that? Our CEO is here to give us the tips.
I can see you have a lot of questions piled up for me today. That's
actually we have a lot of questions for it. And if you have questions for your CEO, please drop it at the comment section below, and he's here to answer them.
Okay, well, it's going to be interactive, so it should be much easier. We'll discuss it together and then make sense out of the questions.
Diving into our first question for today, who is an entrepreneur?
Okay, interesting question as a start. Well, an entrepreneur, according to formal, when you check online, they'll tell you someone who starts up a business. And then back in school, we learned that an entrepreneur is someone who, if I remember correctly, mobilizes resources, labor, and capital to make something that makes sense, like to set up a business out of that. So that's the formal definition we have there. But I would say an entrepreneur is someone who has a certain skill. Well, what skill is that? If from your 20s to your 30s, right, you've not set up yourself, you've not been able to start up something, you've not taken the initiative to build up a team and start something we call business, but not necessarily a large scale but small scale, you've not started something reasonable, then you most probably don't have that skill. I would say not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur, because first of all, if we are all entrepreneurs, no one is going to work for no one. We're not going to have workers for people. So some people are meant to take the role of an entrepreneur, and some people are meant to be the followers, definitely. So that's the first reason to cut out entrepreneurs and those who are not. The next is having that skill which makes you an entrepreneur. So between the ages of 20 to 30, if you've not started up something, it doesn't matter, but it has to be something which shows that you have that ingredient, that skill as an entrepreneur. Then most probably you're not meant to be one. Don't really follow that misconception that everybody wants to start their own business, everybody wants to own, because some people are out there who follow that misconception and then they mess up, and then they realize that they are not entrepreneurs, because it takes a skill, as I said. And we'll go through, so we'll get to know through your questions. I hope the questions would be revealing enough so we can know who an entrepreneur is. So
thank you, CEO. So moving on to our next question, how do you choose your path as an entrepreneur? Okay, so there are so many businesses out there, and so it's quite difficult to say you belong to this business or you belong to that. So as a someone who wants to be an entrepreneur, wants to start a business, how do I choose the path to follow?
One thing that fascinates me, well, before I continue with your question, one thing that fascinates me is when I hear people say that I'm not meant to do business, or business is not meant for me. Everybody has business tied to them one way or the other. Wherever you go, wherever you do, has business involved in it. There's a transaction of money, and so you can't say that you have nothing to do with business and be there. You're actually harming yourself. But then when we come to your question, the path to choose, I would say your path first of all has to be full. I'm sure we are all familiar with the fact that your your career path has to be fueled with your passion. Yes, it has to be, but then what do we mean by it has to be fueled with your passion? Passion is basically what you really love much, because see, if you really love your work that much, you wouldn't be bothered by the Monday morning syndrome. You'd actually be very happy to go to work on Monday, because yeah, you love what you do, so you want to wake up and be at work on time, and you enjoy working. So yes, it's definitely important to love what you do. So to know what you really love, everybody is different, and we all have things we love. Probably the problem would be to know what it is. So calm down and get to know what you find yourself doing, and you can't hold yourself back from. And definitely it has to be something productive. So for some people, the issue is not having a passion at all. We all do have passions, but then it's just to know what it is. So calm down, because see, there's no limit to what your passion can be. It's really vast. So don't be intimidated by other people expressing their passions. We all do have strong passions, and we have to develop it, know what it is first. Yeah.
Okay, so our doctor says calm down and identify what you love to do. Your interest is very important in career choice. All right, so doctor, how do I then sustain my path? So after I've chosen this career path, I want to go this way, how do I then sustain it?
Okay, sustaining the path you've chosen. So you found out what you really love, and then you want to continue the journey. Okay, first of all, you have to start it up with an idea. Believe me, in this century now, everybody has an idea. Speak to people and they all have things in their heads as ideas. People have limitless ideas, and I can say that now having an idea is not the real big deal. It's what you do after the idea, because we all have super ideas in our heads. So you have the idea, and then what you do with it. The idea doesn't have to be so big, and yeah, that keeps you keeping the idea inactive. You just start up something, because I would say from experience, what you do with the idea is actually determined by your customers. Your customers tell you whether your idea is going to work or not yourself. Because so how would you know if you've not started up something? You have the idea, and then the people who are going to tell you whether that idea is going to work or not are your customers, and they've not heard from you. So basically, you just remain like that. But the moment you start up with whatever you have, then people tell you, actually, I didn't like this, and this works. They give you their proposals, and then you learn from it. So we always say, do something, whether it's going to be big or small. Just go out there and then put yourself out there on the market. People will give you feedback, and then you'd work with that. You'd get criticisms, you'd get positive feedback, and work with that. So that's how to start. We all have ideas. So the next thing is to work with the idea, I would say. Yeah.
So it's not just okay to have the idea, work with the idea and allow your customers to help to improve it. So my next question to you is, what are the necessary ingredients you need to expand your business? Like once you've gotten the idea and then you've used it, how do you now expand it to make it bigger?
Okay, well, to some extent you can start up on your own. For starting, you can do it on your own, but it gets to a point where you need a team to actually help.